Akuma versus Akuma.
It was. I gotta say, in JR's defense, not only is he a super smart player that we've seen in Street Fighter Third Strike, it's what he's primarily known for, played a great Akuma there, but he's also just really solid. I think people underestimate him, and he's really shown that he has earned a place on the stage. Let's see what he can do against Mike Ross.
Yeah, and the Raging Demon is definitely a very scary weapon that sometimes I feel like some Akumas underutilized. JR Rodriguez willing to take the risks to try to land the demons, and I think that's what got him the wins versus Tokido.
And a very unconventional style. Tokido is the essence of conventional, sort of almost the height of conventional Akuma. JR, a very surprising, unconventional player, plays in his own style. Makes a lot of surprising choices. And again, let's see if Mike Ross can make the adjustment. He may have some experience against JR as another Southern California player.
Yep. Oh, nice, chasing that jump back with the roundhouse butt slam. Lands the Ocho throw. Mike Ross with all the momentum now. But he's got to be careful of that Raging Demon.
Misses the Tatsu.
That Raging Demon can even this fight out really quick. Ooh.
Very gutsy.
Ooh.
I don't know what that was, but I don't think that's what he had intended to do.
No, I'm going to say that was probably a mistake, maybe some early nerves.
I actually think that was a straight up jump into Demon landing.
That
knowing anybody else, I would never believe you, but knowing JR, I think that could be a possible setup.
Because he whipped the jab when he jumped straight up, so I think that was the Demon code that he was inputting.
One setup we may see for the Demon that I have seen JR Rodriguez use in the past is to do a red fireball with Akuma and then FADC forward as a Honda player jumps over it. I've seen that specific setup against Honda by him in the past.
JR, incredibly creative player, again, making some unconventional choices here. And Mike, I don't know about that. Can you follow him? Yes, indeed. JR says he is the master of the Demon.
Mike Ross, I'm a little bit confused as to quite what he thought he was doing there, burning both his super and his ultra right in a row.
Both players seem to be a bit on tilt here.
Oh,
Mike
Ross with a quick comeback there.
Strangely enough, Mike Ross will get most of his meter back from burning his super because of the Raging Demon.
There were many surprises there at the end of that round. None of that was by the script. It was all free form.
That was a slug match, is what that was. That was two players absolutely just slugging it out.
And Mike Ross has got to be careful now because JR has a full meter. You can't jump away from that super Raging Demon. He activates it right next to you.
It is a zero frame grab. If it activates right next to you, you will get grabbed.
Yep.
And we
no jumping out.
And you know JR is going to be looking for that. Nice combo there for
Beautiful stuff, beginning, of course, with that jumping strong.
And it's important to note that this life gap is even larger than what you would see on the screen because Honda has more health than a normal character and Akuma has much less.
I've seen Akumas land 2 demons in a row, so that would catch him up.
Let's see if JR's got some gas left in his tank.
Oh! Not sure what he was going for there.
I think that was going to be jab, jab, walk up, Raging Demon. I think that was the plan. Mike Ross was just going to have none of that.
I mean, normally when you see Akuma players try those tricks, they try to whiff the overhead first to make sure they don't throw out a move that makes them block by accident. I didn't see JR do that. I think he might have second-guessed himself.
It's Mike Ross firming back up, looking very solid suddenly.
See if JR can flip the script and inject some surprises into this. I don't think jump away air fireball is going to cut it. Wow.
It's going to take a little more creativity.
But if anybody's got creativity, it's JR. But Mike Ross has now made it game point, or excuse me, match point, just like that.
That's what Mike Ross says to creativity. He says, take that, creativity. I got a butt slam for you.
I have down back and headbutt, and that's all I need.
And again, as we've seen, Honda not traditionally considered by American players to be one of the strongest characters in the game, but Japanese say he may be one of the best characters in Super Street Fighter 4.
Japanese say he may be one of the best players, or maybe one of the best characters. Americans consistently list him as kind of in the middle.
Yes.
If you talk to Mike Ross, he seems to be a little down on him himself, saying that maybe he's in the middle. But he's certainly not letting that opinion show right now.
If you talk to Mike Ross says that every match for Honda is a disadvantage.
So he's so great by pulling it off. Yes, I like that. I like that attitude. But he's certainly earning his keep here so far. Some really strong play, and JR has a lead, but is down a game and a round.
Yep.
Wow.
It's going to take one combo for Mike Ross to make a comeback, just from the damage that Honda can do, and the low life from Akuma.
And now JR content to gut it out from across the screen.
JR in a strong position to take this round.
See see if Mike can make some magic happen, possibly with the Ultra. He looks like he's trying to hold his charge. There's the super.
Oh! And JR just went for the uppercut. That's gutsy play on JR.
I can't like that play from Mike Ross. He's telegraphing that charge a little bit, and he's now burned his entire meter. Meter not critical to Honda, but always helps.
Yep.
Definitely, it's an important thing to have, like you said, not critical. It does allow for a lot of tricks sometimes off the hand. You can focus attack, cancel forward, try for an Oicho throw, or go backwards.
Now, Mike Ross is probably one of the least conventional Hondas. A lot of people consider Honda to be a very defensive character, but Mike Ross likes to play offense with Honda. And so far, it's been working, but...
Wow, I don't know what JR was thinking there. He looked like he might have had a free combo on Honda.
Yep, JR making it.
Oh,
he did it!
JR Rodriguez, Raging Demon Specialist.
But you know what?
Finally breaks one out for us.
That was only a half-full Ultra, so it didn't do that much damage, but that did and took the rest of the life off. And JR Rodriguez has tied it up 1-1.
And after being really on the brink of defeat and Mike Ross looking like he was really in control of this entire game, we've seen it turn back around. And let's see if JR has got more tricks in his magic bag.
This crowd, as we were panning around showing you, is absolutely riveted. This room is almost silent.
I mean, the interesting thing is that JR is such a fan favorite from Third Strike. And Mike Ross is also a very popular player, so it's really hard to say who the audience is rooting for right now.
I think they're more excited just to see a fast-paced, really intense match like this. I think if Mike Ross were turtling a little bit, holding back, we would see the crowd on JR's side decisively. But both players are so aggressive.
Again, there it is. He baits out the unbelievable JR Rodriguez.
Boom.
And there it is. There it is. The heaven symbol. Sending Mike Ross to hell.
That's Raging Demon number 3 for those of you taking count at home, folks.
And that'll put JR, is this match point?
Match point for JR Rodriguez.
This is match point.
Showing that it was not a fluke that he beat Taquito and knocked him in the loser's bracket.
And again, a nice read on the headbutt there, incoming from Mike Ross. JR ready for it with an uppercut.
Mike Ross, like you said, telegraphing a lot of these headbutts and trying for the super. He's got his super now. We have to wonder whether he's going to burn it like he has so many times.
Well, he looks like he's dominating so far, and JR going for some gutsy uppercuts that pay off. Wow. Surprising combo. Mike going to try and turtle it out. He is an aggressive player, not always as comfortable turtling, but he does have a lead, maybe trying to send a message to JR saying you're going to have to earn this.
But the problem is JR's got a lot of meter. Like you said, John, we may be looking for that fireball FADC. There it was.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to bait it out.
I've seen him use that trick before. I know it's in his tool bag.
But Mike Ross jumped straight up instead of forward. Oh, no!
Oh, no! I know what's going to happen here. Oh!
Got
Mike Ross on his feet.
Mike Ross pounding his fist into his palm there.
And it's going to go to the last match, or the last round. Again, JR, nice read on that opening headbutt from Mike. Let's see if that takes the wind out of his sails after that initial celebration.
JR's got to be feeling very disappointed after he had the match. Got a little bit ahead of himself.
Could have just did that ultra just a little bit later, and he would have won the match.
You can't think about that now. It's dead even.
Nice jump straight up here. Such a good zoning tool for Honda. Such a great tool for controlling space.
Would have liked to see JR uppercut there. He's been consistent with that so far. He might be rethinking things. He might be trying to build meter as well. We'll see. No.
Oh.
That stand roundhouse, people say it was nerfed, but still such a powerful tool.
Oh,
very powerful pressure.
That
could be it.
Oh.
No, does not complete with the standing roundhouse.
He was worried that Mike Ross pulls it off.
Mike Ross reads the jump, reads the demon flip.
You know, speaking about that stand roundhouse that Mike Ross didn't do in that combo, I think he thought it might have been too far. And if JR was, he might have been...
Queuing up the demon to mash that out?
mash it out in case he missed it. So I think that was a smart play from Mike Ross. Not worth the risk there.
Indeed, a careful analysis in a split second based on spacing and everything else. But again, congratulations to JR. He'll be sent to the loser's bracket, but again, representing, he can take on anybody and really deserves a spot with his unconventional play style and ability to land a demon out of nowhere. He really had that match potentially in the bag. Mike Ross came within pixels of destruction. But again, I think JR might have been so excited about the opportunity to close out with that. The crowd went crazy. Either